Odell Beckham Jr. is one of the most popular athletes in the world and one of the best players in the NFL. This past Sunday, he signed a 5-year, $95 million contract extension with the New York Giants, making him the highest paid wide receiver in NFL history. In today's video, because of this massive contract extension, we'll discuss whether or not Odell Beckham Jr. is the best receiver in the NFL. Let's get right into it. So what makes Odell Beckham Jr. such a great wide receiver? He's fast, he's got great hands, as you probably know if you pay attention to football. He's a good route runner, he's agile, he's got jukes. He's great when passing to him long, he's great when passing to him short. Really, skill-wise, there are no weaknesses in his game. And I would say he's probably one of the most complete receivers in the NFL, if not the most complete receiver. However, the thing that comes into question is his mentality. His mental toughness is definitely a question. I mean, he's gotten in a fight with Josh Norman. He takes himself out of the game because he's more worried about personal issues, like his conflict with Josh Norman a couple seasons ago. If you watch football, you know what I'm talking about. He's mentally weak, according to a lot of people. He can't keep his cool, he gets angry, and when he does get frustrated, it definitely affects his game. The dude is not focused, he doesn't run his routes as good, he's not as focused on catching the ball. So his mental toughness definitely need to improve. But like I said, skill-wise, this dude is the total package. Another weakness that you could look at in his game that may make him maybe not the best receiver in the NFL, but in my opinion doesn't have as big of effect, is injuries. I mean, he's only 25 years old. Early in his career, he's only played 4 seasons, and he's only played 3 of those seasons healthy. Last year, he had a foot/leg injury. So you never want to see injuries with a receiver, but in football, it happens all the time. So I'm not really sure you could consider that a weakness. Another thing that kind of goes along with his mental toughness is his off and on-field distractions. The dude dancing in the end zone when he scores, I don't think is that big of a deal like some people do. But the dude does a lot off the field. He does a lot on the field that may take focus away from him and his teammates. He is a distraction, but that may also be why the Giants like him so much. He is their money maker. I mean, they gave him this money, and I'm sure his off the field antics have the same effect on his popularity, or maybe even a bigger effect on his popularity than his football skills do. So I mean, maybe that's what they're paying him for, but in my opinion, he is a distraction. It does end up affecting his teammates in a negative way, to their detriment sometimes. So I think that he needs to be a little bit more mature, or at least act like it when he's on the football field and also off the football field sometimes. But anyways, enough of me talking about Odell Beckham Jr.'s behavior. Let's get into why I think he is the best receiver in the NFL. So these are the stats from the top 4 receivers that most people think are the top 4 receivers. First 3 seasons. So Odell Beckham Jr., Antonio Brown, Julio Jones, and DeAndre Hopkins. We're going to take the yards and the touchdowns, which are the 2 main stats for receivers, from their first 3 seasons. And the reason it's from the first 3 seasons is because Odell Beckham Jr. will be entering his 5th year in the NFL, but he didn't play much in his 4th year. He got hurt, was out for the season. So we're just going to include the first 3 seasons for the top 4 receivers in the NFL. And I think that all of these guys were healthy for their first 3 seasons. And we're going to compare them, and these numbers may shock you. Odell Beckham Jr. had 4,122 yards in his first season. That is double the amount of Antonio Brown, who had 2,062 yards in his first 3 seasons. And that is almost double the amount of Julio Jones, who had 2,737. So maybe that's not almost double, but that's almost 1,500 more yards than Julio Jones in his first 3 seasons. And that is 600 more yards than DeAndre Hopkins had in his first 3 seasons. So Odell Beckham Jr., yards-wise, made a big gap between him and the other top receivers in the NFL in his first 3 seasons. And these guys are obviously putting up bigger numbers now, but that's just to show you that if Odell Beckham keeps getting those numbers higher and higher, this dude's going to be scary. He already is scary. This dude is going to be the greatest receiver of all time if he keeps progressing at this rate. But now moving on to touchdowns. Odell Beckham Jr. in his first 3 seasons had 35 touchdowns. That's ridiculous. That's over 10 touchdowns a season for a dude who just entered the league. In comparison to Antonio Brown, who had 7, so that's 5 times more touchdowns in his first 3 seasons than Antonio Brown, who many people consider the best receiver in the NFL. That's a huge gap. Now looking at Julio Jones touchdowns, Julio Jones had 20 in his first 3 seasons, so that's 15 more than Julio Jones, and DeAndre Hopkins had 19, so that's 16 more than DeAndre Hopkins. The stats speak for themselves, and I'm not a huge stats guy, but I definitely do look at them, and I know that numbers aren't everything, but Odell Beckham Jr. is something different, guys. Please leave your thoughts in the comment section down below on whether or not you think Odell Beckham Jr. is the best receiver in the NFL. In my opinion, he is, and if he comes back at the same level that he did before he got hurt, he's going to be scary. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you in my next video. Thanks.